In 2015, a modern European nation came within days of financial collapse. Banks shut their doors, cash withdrawals were rationed, pensions were frozen, and the country that gave the world democracy, philosophy, and money itself was negotiating its survival with foreign lenders. This wasn't ancient history. This was Greece, a member of the European Union, inside the Eurozone, using one of the world's most trusted currencies. So how does a developed nation end up on the brink of default? How does a country backed by Germany and France find itself begging for bailouts? Because what happened in Greece wasn't just an economic failure. It was a lesson in how debt becomes power and how sovereignty can disappear without a single soldier crossing a border. Let's rewind. Greece joined the euro in 2001. Overnight, everything changed. For decades, Greece had run high deficits and carried heavy debt. Normally, markets would punish that with high interest rates, but the euro altered perception. Investors assumed Greek debt was effectively backed by stronger countries like Germany. Borrowing costs collapsed, credit flowed freely, and Greece borrowed, public sector wages increased, government hiring expanded, infrastructure projects multiplied, the country modernized, but beneath the surface, the system remained fragile. Tax evasion was widespread, bureaucracy was bloated. Spending grew faster than productivity, debt quietly accumulated while optimism masked the risk. By the time the global financial crisis hit in 2008, Greece was already one of the weakest links in the Eurozone. Then came the shock. After the collapse of Lehman Brothers, investors began scrutinizing government balance sheets. When they examined Greece, they found something worse than high debt. They found deception. In 2009, Greece admitted it had underreported its deficit for years. The real figure was close to 15% of GDP, more than double what had been reported. Trust evaporated overnight, borrowing costs surged, markets shut Greece out, and in 2010 the country had no choice but to seek a bailout from the European Union and the IMF. The rescue package was 110 billion euros, but it came with conditions: severe austerity, spending cuts, tax hikes, pension reductions, labor reforms. The theory was simple: restore confidence by cutting costs. The reality was devastating. The economy collapsed, GDP shrank by more than 25%. Unemployment soared past 27%, youth unemployment exceeded 60%, hospitals ran short on supplies, small businesses disappeared. And here's the paradox: even as Greece followed the rules, its debt worsened. Because when an economy shrinks faster than debt is reduced, the debt-to-GDP ratio rises. Austerity became mathematically self-defeating. By 2012, Greece required a second bailout, 130 billion euros more, along with a historic debt haircut for private investors. It was a partial default in all but name. Still, the crisis dragged on. In 2015, Greeks voted overwhelmingly against further austerity in a national referendum. The message was clear. But the outcome was, days later, the government accepted an even harsher deal. Why? Because the alternative, leaving the euro and returning to the drachma, would have caused immediate financial chaos. At that moment, Greece lost real economic sovereignty. Key decisions about taxes, budgets, and spending were now dictated by the Troika, the European Commission, the European Central Bank, and the IMF. This wasn't new. Debt has always been a tool of control. In the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire defaulted repeatedly. European creditors responded by taking control of its customs revenues. Egypt followed a similar path after borrowing heavily to modernize. Britain and France didn't invade first, they took over the finances. The state remained, the flag flew, but power belonged to creditors. Greece experienced the same fate, not through armies but through balance sheets. For ordinary Greeks, the cost was brutal. Pensions were slashed. Healthcare deteriorated. A generation emigrated. The economy survived but permanently weakened. Even today, Greece carries a debt burden exceeding 160% of GDP. So why does this matter now? Because Greece wasn't an exception. Emerging markets today, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Argentina, face the same structure. Easy borrowing in good times, crisis when conditions change, and loss of autonomy when creditors step in. Even advanced economies aren't immune. Italy remains heavily indebted. Japan's public debt exceeds 250% of GDP. The United States carries over $34 trillion, protected for now by reserve currency status. The lesson is simple: debt feels harmless until confidence breaks. And when confidence breaks, lenders don't just want repayment, they want control. For nations, debt limits sovereignty. For individuals, it limits freedom. Greece didn't fall like an ancient empire, no invasion. No collapse of institutions, but functionally it surrendered slowly, legally, and quietly, and it happened inside one of the most advanced financial systems on Earth. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, and Greece showed us how fragile financial independence really is. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. History has the answers, I'll show you where to look.